NEC Section 110.26a states that electrical equipment shall be installed in a manner that provides adequate access to and working space about the equipment to permit ready and safe operation and maintenance of the equipment. NEC Section 110.26a addresses the minimum clear working space in front of electrical equipment. It states that where the equipment is energized, the minimum clear working space in front of electrical equipment such as switchboards, panel boards, and motor control centers shall not be less than 3 feet. Where the equipment is energized, the minimum clear working space in front of electrical equipment shall not be less than 30 inches. NEC Section 110.26b specifies the depth of the working space in front of electrical equipment. The requirements vary based on the amperage rating of the equipment. For equipment rated 1200 amps or less, the minimum depth is 3 feet. For equipment rated from 1201 to 4000 amps, the minimum depth is 3 feet 6 inches. And for equipment rated over 4000 amps, the minimum depth is 4 feet. Given a transformer rated at 500 kV amps, it's essential to determine the corresponding amperage to apply the correct working space depth requirement. The calculation depends on the voltage of the system. Assuming a 480 volt secondary voltage, the amperage can be calculated as follows. Amps equals kilovolt amps times 1000 divided by volts times the square root of 3. In this case, amps equals 500 kilovolt amps times 1000 divided by 480 volts times the square root of 3. Amps equals 500,000 divided by 831.38, which equals approximately 601.4 amps. Since 601.4 amps is less than 1200 amps, the minimum depth of the working space in front of the transformer should be 3 feet. However, it is recommended to consult a qualified electrical engineer to confirm these calculations for your specific system parameters. A handrail obstructing the required working space needs to be removed to comply with the NEC. This ensures that personnel can safely access and maintain the transformer. The working space must be at the same elevation as the equipment to provide a safe and accessible working area. The NEC emphasizes the importance of readily accessible working space for electrical equipment to ensure the safety of qualified personnel during operation and maintenance activities. The requirement for a 30-inch wide by 36-inch deep workspace at the same elevation is further clarified by the specific NEC sections. Section 110.26 broadly mandates adequate access and working space for safe operation and maintenance. This general requirement is then made more specific in subsequent subsections. Section 110.26 defines the minimum clear working space in front of electrical equipment, differentiating between energized and de-energized conditions. While energized equipment requires a minimum of 3 feet, de-energized equipment requires at least 30 inches. Section 110.26b focuses on the depth of the working space, which varies according to the equipment's amperage rating. For equipment rated 1200 amps or less, a depth of 3 feet is required, while higher amperage ratings necessitate greater depths. It is also important to consider the width of the working space, as specified in Section 110.26a3, which states that the width of the working space in front of electrical equipment shall be the width of the equipment or 30 inches, whichever is greater. This ensures that there is sufficient lateral space for personnel to maneuver while working on the equipment. It is also important to check for any local amendments to the NEC that may impose additional requirements or restrictions. Local jurisdictions may have specific rules that supplement or modify the NEC provisions. Consulting with a qualified electrical inspector or engineer is highly recommended to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. In the context of the scenario described, the handrail is an obstruction that violates NEC 110.26 because it impedes the required working space. Removing the handrail is necessary to create a safe and code-compliant environment for personnel to perform maintenance tasks on the transformer. The absence of a handrail may raise safety concerns, particularly given the grade difference of 3 feet 6 inches. Implementing alternative safety measures such as guardrails or warning signs may be necessary to mitigate the risk of falls. Evaluating the specific site conditions and potential hazards is crucial in determining the appropriate safety measures to implement. A comprehensive risk assessment should be conducted to identify potential hazards and develop mitigation strategies. Engineering controls, such as guardrails or barriers, should be prioritized to eliminate or minimize hazards. Administrative controls, such as warning signs and safety procedures, can supplement engineering controls. Personal protective equipment, such as safety harnesses or fall protection devices, may be required in certain situations. Regular inspections and maintenance of safety equipment are essential to ensure its effectiveness. Training and education should be provided to personnel on the proper use of safety equipment and procedures. The installation of the transformer must comply with all applicable requirements of the NEC and other relevant codes and standards. This includes proper grounding, overcurrent protection, and wiring methods. The transformer should be installed in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions and specifications. A qualified electrical contractor should be engaged to perform the installation work. A thorough inspection of the installation should be conducted to ensure compliance with all applicable requirements. The transformer should be properly labeled with all required information such as voltage, amperage, and kVA rating. Warning signs should be posted to alert personnel of potential hazards. Regular maintenance should be performed on the transformer to ensure its continued safe and reliable operation. This includes periodic inspections, cleaning, and testing. Any necessary repairs or replacements should be performed promptly by qualified personnel. A detailed maintenance log should be kept to track all maintenance activities. The transformer should be protected from physical damage and environmental hazards. This may include installing a protective enclosure or barrier. The area around the transformer should be kept clear of obstructions and combustible materials. Emergency procedures should be in place to address potential incidents, such as fires or spills. Personnel should be trained on these procedures and know how to respond in an emergency. Regular drills should be conducted to ensure that personnel are familiar with the procedures. Contact information for emergency responders should be readily available. The transformer should be decommissioned and disposed of properly at the end of its service life. This should be done in accordance with all applicable environmental regulations. A qualified contractor should be engaged to perform the decommissioning and disposal work. All hazardous materials, such as oil or coolants, should be removed and disposed of properly. The transformer should be recycled or disposed of in an environmentally sound manner. Documentation should be maintained to verify that the decommissioning and disposal were performed properly. When planning the location and installation of a transformer, consider the long-term implications for maintenance and safety. Factors such as accessibility, ventilation, and environmental conditions should be taken into account. Engaging qualified professionals, such as electrical engineers and contractors, is essential to ensure a safe and code-compliant installation. Regular inspections and maintenance are crucial to maintaining the safety and reliability of the transformer throughout its service life. The NEC is a comprehensive set of standards that addresses a wide range of electrical safety issues. It is important to consult the NEC and other relevant codes and standards to ensure compliance with all applicable requirements. Failure to comply with these requirements can result in serious consequences, including fines, penalties, and even personal injury. The NEC is updated on a regular basis to reflect new technologies and best practices. It is important to stay informed of the latest changes to the NEC and to incorporate them into your electrical work. Continuing education and training are essential for electrical professionals to stay up to date on the latest codes and standards. Certification programs are available to demonstrate competency in electrical safety. Engaging certified professionals is a good way to ensure that your electrical work is performed safely and in compliance with applicable codes and standards. The NEC is not a substitute for sound engineering judgment and experience. It is important to consider the specific circumstances of each installation and to apply your knowledge and skills to ensure a safe and reliable electrical system. Always consult with a qualified electrical engineer or contractor if you have any questions or concerns about electrical safety. Electrical safety is everyone's responsibility. By following safe practices and complying with applicable codes and standards, we can all help to prevent electrical accidents and injuries. Working with electricity can be dangerous. Always take precautions to protect yourself and others from harm. To energize equipment before working on it whenever possible. Use appropriate personal protective equipment, such as gloves, safety glasses, and insulated tools. Follow lockout/tagout procedures to prevent accidental energization of equipment. Be aware of potential hazards, such as energized conductors, moving parts, and flammable materials. Work safely and responsibly to protect yourself and others from harm. In summary, compliance with NEC Section 110.26 requires adequate working space around electrical equipment, including transformers. The specific dimensions of the working space depend on the voltage and amperage rating of the equipment. Obstructions, such as handrails, must be removed to provide the required working space. Alternative safety measures may be necessary to mitigate potential hazards. Consulting with qualified professionals and adhering to all applicable codes and standards is essential to ensure safe and code-compliant installation. Remember that electrical safety is paramount, and taking the necessary precautions can prevent accidents and injuries.